Welcome to the Columbus Regional Airport Authority snow removal training. Today we're going to bring you the MB-2. The MB-2 is a fifth wheel multi-function, multi-task. We call them MTEs here. It is about 70-75 feet long. What's missing on here, what you don't see, we'll show you in later videos, is the plow. It's a 24-foot plow. But we're going to do just a walk around checking for leaks, missing bolts, missing lug nuts, proper inflations and stuff. But first we're going to check the hitch out here. You're looking at the cylinder, make sure that you don't see any leaks. You got hoses, make sure there's nothing getting pinched. Everything looks good. You're looking at the bolts around here, just make sure they're all good. The two bolts on this side and there's two on the other side that are very important. If you see traces of rust, that means the bolt is starting to come loose, and then therefore this whole hitch could potentially fall off with the plow on it. We've had that happen too in the past with some of our older plows. So be very, very mindful of that. So as you look in here, you're going to be looking at the windshield. Make sure you don't see any breaks or cracks or anything like that. Same thing with your lights. You just kind of give an overview. As you walk around this way, check the tires. You can kind of see, make sure that they're properly inflated. There's the proper PCI. The lug nuts, these have a nice indication. If these are missing, that means the lug nuts are probably gone. Or if they're spin in opposite direction, see they go a clockwise, give or take little adjustments. But if you see this one's completely turned up here or completely backwards, that lug nut is loose. So we're going to have to make sure that gets tightened up. Look back through here. You got your mud flaps. We're not checking any of the oils yet, but we'll go over that later. Catwalks. You got your diesel fuel. You do have your air tank. You can mix just a little. Make sure there's no water coming out. Look underneath all the tanks, make sure there's no leaks. When you look back here on the back side of the tractor trailer, this will be an advanced video, but you can see we have a green connection and a gray connection, and that's kind of look green on green, gray on gray. If your trailer lights do not work, but your tractor lights work, that means those connections are probably got reversed. So it's a good indication. Make sure you just green on green. Coming back through here, you kind of look at your bolts, tires, frame, lug nuts. Just kind of give a general look. As we get to the broom, coming through here, this is just like the front mounted broom. So just kind of looking it over. We're not doing any adjustments yet on that. We will look at it a little bit later. So you're looking at your bolts, your carriage, or your cradles. Make sure everything's kind of not missing, no bolts missing. Everything looks good. So we get here, same thing. We got mud flaps, air blast. One thing is a good indication if the if the master switch is on or off. We leave these up when it's off. When they're on, we leave them down. So if you come up on equipment, more likely if it's like this, the master switch is on. But you can always check. And I don't know how well you can see in here, but we'll get the old flashlight in here. You can kind of see there's the master switch for this one, along with the battery box. The battery box, we're just going to turn that on like normal. Just make sure the battery box is secure on both sides. So we're going to put that down to indicate the master switch is on. Here's one of our another fuel tanks. If you do need to fuel it, we'll show that a little bit later, but it is right in there. Once again, we're looking at lights, flaps. There's another pull for the rear air tank. Make sure everything else looks pretty good. All right, so we come on this side. We're missing all the lug nut indicators.
They're only on the front. So
they're only on the front, but just to let you guys know, they are just on the front. But check, make sure we're not missing any, and go from there. So continue walking around. When you get to the tires on the back side, you want to make sure, one, they're inflated, but two, that they spin. Make sure the wheel bearings are good. If these are all good now, but if you happen to hear like a grr sound, like a tire growling or something like that, or grinding, you know, that's an indication the wheel bearings have let go or are not working. So these should be all good. You're also checking your hoses on your broom head. Make sure there's no leaks coming anywhere. There's a lot of hoses right there. Also up top here, you can look at the back side. So a lot of going on here. Like I said, this is just a general walk around. Got connections, mud flaps. Here you go. There's your lug nuts again. You can see it on the other side here. We got the tank. It is cross-fed. No leaks. Here is the front battery for the tractor. So we're going to flip this on right here. That's the master switch for that. So battery secured. Coming across. Tires again. Lug nuts. Lights. Windshields, make sure there's no cracks. So once again, we can come in here. You can look at, make sure these bolts don't have any traces of rust on them. So that's just a walk around. Next, we're going to check the rear engine compartment, and we'll start from there. Thanks. Equipment, we're going to show you how to get the hood up and start checking some of the fluids. As we walk around, the battery master shutoff was over there, like it was in the previous. Here is the main control to lit this up. You're going to switch this to service. If nothing comes on, kind of goes through its little cycle. If not, you may have to pull this out because somebody might have just accidentally hit this. So if you hit that, it shuts it off. You won't be able to do it. You just kind of turn and pull. And it goes through its, there you go. All right, once you get that, you can kind of check. Here's the fuel temperature. Any PSI for the back, and any other fluids. So as we go, we're going to go to a little bit to the front here. We're going to show that. In this box, all this should be wrapped up in here. You kind of just take it off. Very simple. Up, down, and it's going to lift it up. Unlike the front mounted broom, we don't need any air pressure. So now when you get up here, this is kind of, can be a little tricky and stuff. I would suggest you start out with your left foot. You got your 3 points of contact, either here, here, or here. And once you go up, here you go. All right, now that you're up here, we're gonna kind of start from the front to the back. So here's your hydraulic oil. You have a sight glass. You can see where it needs to be in its range. On top here is how you fill it, right up here. Okay. You're also looking for the belts and hoses. There is a dipstick for the gearbox up in there. I don't know if you can see it, but it is on this side. And you pull it out. Here we go. So here is the auto lube. So you can kind of see where up here is kind of the max, and if it gets close to this green bar right here, we need to refill it at that point. So come across here, we're looking for belts, hoses. Just watch your step when you're coming through here. There is a light if you want a light. I don't know if that helps a lot, but there is a light right there. Here up here, this is the engine coolant, and there's the sight glass, and right there is how you fill it. Once again, and anytime you have coolant, you know, if it's just got done running, you might not want to check it. It could be very, very hot. Look at your hoses in here, your belts. Make sure everything looks pretty good. Nothing's leaking. It looks pretty good. So, all right. So once again, when you come down, you want to go backwards. You don't want to go forwards. 3 points of contact. Put your right foot down first. Find that last one, and down you go. All right. So you come around this way. And now you got the other side to do. Once again, here's the diesel. You can open it up and check it if you want. Give a little visual check. If not, you can check the gauges. They should be pretty accurate. So once again, 3 points of contact. Come up here. So now we have the oil dipstick. Same thing. Pull it out, wipe it off, and then check it. Make sure it does have the proper amount of oil in it, and then you stick it back in. Give it a little twist, make sure it is. That's your engine oil fill. And as we move through here, just kind of looking at it, here's your, trying to think. So just looking at just general conditions and stuff, make sure everything looks pretty good. Other than that, that concludes it. We'll go back on the back side and we'll put it down. You just hit the down button and that's pretty much it. So we're going to do the drive engine of the tractor right now. So we kind of, as we continued, you could, from the previous video, you can just walk right into this one. Get your diesel, it is cross feed. You can check it visually if you want, but we're not going to do it. You look at your filters, make sure there's nothing below it for fuel or any fluid. Here's your battery. Remember your master switch, we turned that on previously. And battery cover is secured. Up here, we have our deluge tank fuel right here. Same thing as before, you just open that up and take it out and pour it in, and then this is for your windshield wiper fluid. So there is two of them. You kind of see underneath here where it says NSF is a, that's where all the deluge is kept. So, all right, we're gonna make our way toward this side. So this is kind of tricky to get this hood up, but first things first, here's the auto lube for the front here. So once again, if it gets close to the green level, let's let the mechanics know, they'll refill it. Max is probably, you know, maybe up to that point. So first thing, when this thing comes up, it will hit this, so you're gonna have to lift up and go like that, okay? Now, this is a hand crank. Oh, I need to unlatch this side first. Do that, and then there's one on the back here, and that one's already let go, so we're in good shape. So here's how you lift, here's the instructions to open and close it. However, you may be in this top slot here and it may not go anywhere. You see that? Well, that's because this graph is fine and dandy, but whoever put this nut and stuff on probably tighten it 90 degrees too much. So you might have to play with it a little bit. You kind of see right there, these are 90 degrees difference than what this shows. So once that gets locked in, it's just a hand crank up. Now, some of these, so that latch wasn't fully off, that's why I couldn't get it up. So make sure that's off first. So now it should be a lot. So go back to right there. There you go. Some of these you might have to pump a little bit more than others. But once it gets all the way up, you can go. Once you get it to the top, it will stop on you. So that's pretty good. Once again, climb it up. 3 points of contact. And come up here. So once again, like most engine compartments, we're checking for belts, hoses, make sure they're not leaking. We do have the engine oil check. Wipe it off, take it out, make sure it's in between the lines. Here's the fill. Okay. Here's the here's the engine coolant, just like before. Here's the sight glass. Here's how you fill it. So as long as it's in there, always do it underneath cold conditions. Transmission fluid fill. There is a light switch right there. Transmission, that's also the fill. Then we have the hydraulic fill point. And there should be a sight glass right underneath there to check, make sure that's all good. So pretty simple on this front engine. We went over it quick, but always take a look at it. Thanks for watching and have a good day. We're just going to take a look, an in-depth, or more of an in-depth look of this broom head here. So once again, if you want to get up under here and take a look, once again, you can see, you know, there's about a hand's width, just like the front mounted brooms. If you need to adjust it, the equipment does have to be on, but there is a switch here, you know, to up and down. If it is, this is just one side. It's not like two sides like on the front mounted brooms. So if you do need to adjust one side, you may have to raise it all the way up to kind of get to a reset point and then raise it or lower it back down. One thing, this is equipped with an auto lube system like I showed you in the back, but we still have some pins and hinges that still need to get some type of lubrication. We'll use WD-40 on these. If there's not one in the tractor, just go in the shop and ask one of the fleet guys or a supervisor for it. So you can kind of see all the hinge and pins. And we'll just kind of walk through here. As we get to this side, we're going to check to see how the scraper bar is, and lo and behold, we do have it. It's down too far. So what's going to happen is the poly bristles are going to get worn too quickly, and then the metal ones are going to stick out, and then we're not going to have a nice clean broom pattern. So we're going to have to readjust this one at some point. We're not going to show you now, but we'll show you that in probably another video of how to adjust it. So the air blast, just like the ones on the front mounted brooms, they blast air out, hurricane force wind, so we can call this Hurricane MB-2. But you really want to put graphite or spray graphite aerosol on these. We don't want to put anything oil based on those because it will attract the dirt and grime and then it cause that nut to pop out. So we need that. So we'll walk around the other side here real quick. You can always be doing it. One thing we probably didn't mention when we lifted this hood in the previous video is when you do lift this hood, make sure your back's clear. There could be a piece of equipment right up here, so you don't want to have this dented. Same thing for this air blaster. The spray graphite aerosol right through there. So back here we have a lot of pins and hinges too, so try to hit them all and you can kind of go see where they're all at. All right, so some bolts you really need to take a look at are these right here. There's 4 of them, one here, one down there, and 2 of them on the exact same. Gotta make sure these are tight and not loose. If they are loose, we need to tighten them back up, or this whole broom head will fall off this hitch here. Also, right through here, you see all these hoses and stuff. This is where all the hydraulics come down to make the broom head go. Very critical hoses. Make sure there's no leaks, everything's connected. Very critical part of this piece of equipment. Also your cradles, make sure it's fully cradled in and out. You can see it right there. There's one on the other side. Yep. So this thing will lift up and pivot out. So, and one thing you kind of want to take a look at too is this should be already, but when this is taken off and service and stuff, you want to kind of look right in here for this little nut and bolt. If you see any space or anything in there, that means it's not, the fifth wheel is not fastened correctly. So let a fleet tech know, or a mechanic, or a supervisor, and we'll get that taken care of. Other than that, that completes the rear portion of the multifunction. Next video, we're going to be checking the drive engine. We are going to continue with a multifunction MB-2 here, but first things first, you can kind of see right here we have a box of wipes. So before you get in and before you start touching everything, you might just want to wipe it down real quick. It should be wiped down before and after. So once you get everything kind of wiped down just like that, we can start the video and kind of explain what's all going on in here. So first things first, if you check up here, here is your climate control. You got your heat, if you want it blowing out from the vents, or if you want defrost on, pretty simple. And this is your side defrost too. How fast you want it and whether it's on or off is that control right there. As we work, here's the ignition. Here's how you adjust your left mirror. Your windows go up and down. They only go down about halfway, so just FYI. Your anti-lock brake system, do not touch that. And here's how you're right. If something's not working right, you just might always want to make sure that's pulled out a little bit. As we come back across here, here's all your markers, your lights for the trailer and for the tractor and stuff. Here's, you can turn them on bright or not, and just once the vehicle or the tractor is on, these will come on. As you come across here, here's your left and right windshield. These will only start when you are moving. If you're stopped, they will not. This is how you select your backup camera. It'll go on your screen down here once you turn it on. We have a couple different types of horns. We got like a little car horn or an air horn. You can select that way. And we got our side defrost here too. Here is your dome light on and off. Here's how you up and down. I'll explain that a little bit later. You do have to go down to your control panel on your screen. Differential lock, please don't touch that. And then also your deluge system. Coming back down here, once again, we have full telescope or up and down for tilt. And then if you push it, you can go up and down with it. So be as comfortable as possible. Also with this, there's a bar right here that you can move forward and backwards. And also there is on one of these sides up here, oops, right here it is to raise it and lower it, just like that. And I'm going to assume on this side is the lumbar support. So just try to find where the stuff is, get comfortable. You may be in here for several hours. Here's your air brakes to release. We'll go over that a little bit later. And here's your ICOM radio for ground control. Some other things you might see to the left and right, we do have fans in here. Once this thing is on, you can adjust them for you, or if your windows are not getting, if they're getting fogged up, you might want to do that. You can come through here, you got your cup holders and stuff. You can open this up. There's more cleaning supplies. We will put, we do have maps and everything else in here that, or some quick picks. I can't see anything. Oh. All right. So the way you do the maps and stuff like that. So, all right, so we're going to start this thing up. First of all, there's this is for the tractor, and over here is how you start the auxiliary or the broom engine. So we'll do this. First things first, you're just going to turn it on, and you can kind of see through here, the screen is going to have a whole bunch of alarms on. We'll let it go through. You may hear some clicking in the background, but you want to see all these cleared off first. So we'll take a couple of seconds for the computers to go through their checks. Do not start it up at this point. It's kind of like your computer systems, you know, they got to boot up, I guess would be a good way to say it. So we just sit here and wait. You might want to do a little wiping down any touch points. There you go. You see how they all cleared off. So then we're going to go back up here. You're going to have to hold this for about 30 seconds, maybe a little less, but it will go. That's the auxiliary engine started. So now you can see we have the RPMs right here, or I'm sorry, for the main engine. Now we're going to start the auxiliary engine. You come over here, and it's this one right here. That's the engine symbol. So you hit it and you hold it, and then you'll notice we got RPMs right there for the auxiliary engine. So now we can kind of go through here, up back here. We can turn on all these lights. You know, make yourself as bright as possible to be seen. This is kind of your high beams, low beams, along with on your, just like your car, you got high beams and low beams here too. Your dome lights, if you want your brighter or dimmer, you come here, you hit this, and it activates on the panel here. You see it where it says dome? You can go up or down. So your dome lights can go up or down. If we hit that button again, and if you want your panel can go up and down with brightness. And then we also have, if we do it one more time, just stay focused right there. Your display, same thing. If you want it darker. So during the day you might have it really bright so you can see it. If you're operating this at during night hours, you can dim it down. So that's what you do with that. So, all right, so next thing, we are currently outside of the equipment barn. But one thing we want to make sure is, as you see this thing, is when we're taking this vehicle in and out of the barn, is you need to have the rear trailer steer off. How you do that is you hit pick 3, and you see trailer steer right here. green is on, that means the trailer steer is on. This will follow where the tractor goes. So this is a coordinated steer. Unlike semi-trailers, this will follow the front. If you turn it off, then it's like a semi-trailer. One thing is when you're going in and out of the barn is always have a spotter, two-way radio communication. That way if you're back in, if something doesn't happen to be right and starts moving out on you, they can tell you to stop. So look in your mirrors, make sure you see what's going on with your tires, because they'll start to turn and then you'll hit something. These vehicles are pretty tight in there. So that's how you do that. So just like the other pieces of equipment, you've got your brake and gas right there. Gear select, put it in drive. Take the air brakes off, and off we go. Very simple. All right, pretty simple driving. Like I said, always look in your mirrors, make sure your trailer's following you and stuff like, or following. So once we get out to the warm-up pads, we need to uncradle the broom. So obviously you get to the warm-up pad, you put it in neutral, put both air brakes. One's for the trailer, one's for the tractor. This is for the trailer, this is for the tractor. So I have both of them down or up, depending on what you want to do. All right, so we want to uncradle the broom. So you hit pick 2, you hit it a second, pick 2, the over button, uncradle. You got to hit it once, and then you'll see the broom lift up. Up. So if you see up here, we have cradle now. So once again, you got to hit it, and it'll raise it up. Once it gets up, go to position like right there, and let go, and hit the cradle button again. Back it comes in, you got to hold it. Hopefully you can hold it. See up on there on the screen, it's locked in position, so that's what you want. So we're going to uncradle it one more time, and so here we go. There's a whole bunch of buttons that you're going to have to learn what they do. Here's kind of a cheat pad. This joystick, this button right here correlates to button 1. Button 1, you can do a plow only, so if you're only in plow only, this will control that. Make sure if it's not working, you got to hit the trigger button at least once to activate the joystick. So once it's activated, we're good to go. If you want to manually, so if you want to control the plow manual mode, plow auto mode, 1 or 2. Auto means as soon as you go left or right, it will fully go left or right or up or down. If you want to manual, if you just want to do it a little bit, that's how you do the manual mode. Same thing for the broom. It's this little pointer thing. You got to turn that on. Now you can control the broom. Left, right, and you kind of see in the mirrors which way you're going. So if the number 1 light is on, that's automatic mode. So you go left, it'll go left. You go up, you go down. So if you want to adjust the broom head speed, so you got to have this on for the broom head speed. This is plus minus. So put it on +1. You'll see it up here on your dash. You'll go from, let me show you that, from ground speed 0 to ground speed negative to setting 1. You're going to have to adjust depending on what type of snow you have. Your supervisor should be helping you out with that. You see this little symbol here. It correlates to the symbol on this, and that's for your air blast. You can increase and decrease it by the plus minus. If you have the button on, it will coordinate with your plow and broom. Some other things you want to take a look at on here. is your deflector shield. That's button 4. You push it up, your deflector shield comes up on your broom. Go down, go down. If you can look in the mirror there, kind of just see it going up and down. If you're already one of these, you just kind of get used to it. There is something called dumping your head, your broom head, and you hit this button. Once that goes, you kind of hear a little noise. It's a vibrator. And if you hit 1 or 2 up on your thing, this whole thing, the whole head or broom head will dump. You kind of see it dump like that. You get the vibration on it. And then you hit the other button to make it go back. 2 and 3 on the joysticks will help you dump your head. Then you're going to have to readjust your deflector. Over here on the control pad, if you do want to increase your engine RPMs, you can do it manually. But I highly recommend just sticking with a broom head with these, because these are preset, and you know they'll do accordingly. So other than that, the next video we're going to show you how to hook up the plow here, and I highly recommend when you have the plow on to have it coordinated. So if your broom's to the left, your plow's to the left. If your broom's to the right, broom's to the right. So welcome back to the Columbus Regional Airport Authority snow removal training for the MB-2. We're going to show you kind of how to hook up a plow to the multi-function here. So it can be just like the plow trucks, it can be challenging but fun, rewarding and stuff like that. So I can see we're in front of the green plows. Green goes on the multi-functions and stuff. And you can see down below here is my hitch. So some things is, you see where the 2 slits for the hooks, that's where they need to go. Some tips and trades that my co-worker here, Brittany, kind of gave me is you want to have that front hitch kind of in line with the midpoint of the bar there. So when you approach it, try to get as straight in as possible. So first things first, we got to make sure all the pins are unhitched. So you go to modes, and we got lock and unlock. We got to unlock the pins. You hold it down, it's going to beep. It will continue to beep. You can kind of see the plow hitch unlocked. So now we can go in. When you do go in, obviously make sure, try not to drag the hitch as much as possible. But when you do go down, this thing will go down automatically, whether you're in manual or auto mode. But once it gets down, you kind of pull back on your joysticks and then proceed. So that way you can kind of see where you're going. You may have to adjust it a little bit, maybe left or right a little bit, but make sure you're in manual mode as you approach. If you do knock it over, it's the same method as we use for the plows to get it back up. There's a strap and you go in from there. So you want to get those little hooks in line with the grooves. Looks like we're pretty straight there. Might have to go down a little bit. Come on, thing. There you go. It's a little jerky, it's okay if you knock it over. We do have ways to get back up. Whoa, just like that almost. So I'm going to go in reverse a little bit here. Go back a little bit, then I'm going to raise it almost again. Okay, just be very gentle. You will get it eventually. So now I need to go forward a little bit. Alright, so almost lost it there, but it did kind of work out. So once you get it on, kind of put it in reverse a little bit, back up, make sure it's up, back up a little bit. All right, put it back in neutral. Now we got to engage the pins. So modes again, there we go, lock it up. And once that plow hitch unlock goes off, it's secure. One thing you want to do is make sure before you leave here is kind of give it a little bouncing around a little bit, just a little bit, make sure it's on there good. So the reverse is true when we put it back. So one thing you try to make sure you do is have your wheels as straight as possible, your caster wheels. So when you go forward, make sure they're as straight as possible. Pull up, get as close. I mean, you don't have to get really close, but you know, we do have them packed in there pretty tight. Maybe once where you see the pin locks disappear there, it's good. Set it all the way down to the ground. Put it in neutral. You can put your parking brakes on. You go back to mode. You hit unlock again. You hold it. So it says plow hitch unlocked. And we're gonna go reverse. And as we go, it kind of goes down, and then kind of back out, all in one motion. That way you don't get hit. Raise your hitch back up so you're not dragging it. And that's as simple as it gets. I almost lost it there a couple times. It takes a little practice. Obviously, I don't have it like my operators and laborers do, but you'll get it. If I can do it, you can do it. So thanks. Have a good day.